Join Divine Oracle Readings. Your host, Gypsy Lady Eva and Brother Chris, discuss spiritual topics and current events.
You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. But you listened to
Divine Oracle Readings underneath Spotify.
Awesome, everybody, and how are we doing today? Tonight's topic, though, is a really crucial one. This is affecting the States, and also now it's starting to come here to Canada. I had my colleague actually on the other end, and
hello, everyone.
Evening, how are ya?
I am doing fine.
Awesome. So, how do we want to start this, though? Do we want to start about people hating, or do we want to just bring the news out, or what?
Well, first of all, let me take a blood pressure medicine because my pressure's gonna go off the scale. This is something that I'm very adamant about, and let's start it.
All right. For those that don't know, I live in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, actually, of Ontario, Canada. So what has just recently happened is what's going actually on right now in the States to do with the LGBT community, even people, though, that are supportive and not supportive of what Eva was telling me before we went live. There's also news going actually on within the States to do with this. But I'll sort of let you guys know. Wednesday, I had the police scanner actually on, which is a free app, though, that you can listen to over the top of your cell phones and everything else. And they were talking about a stabbing. Now, for those though that actually live in the States, you guys might be, hey, who cares, everything else. But this is slowly coming into Canada. Anyway, so they were calling to the University of Waterloo. Now, the University of Waterloo is less than 5 minutes away from my location. If I'm actually out on the patio, I can basically see the area right where it is. Since I live 12 floors up, I'm not going to say right where I live, but yeah. Now, I sent the article to Eva because this is something, though, that's really crucial to talk about. Again, though, the person went into the professor's class. He was talking about gender and everything else. So it's a big thing going actually on the States right now. And yeah, so we're going to talk about this tonight. So
a targeted attack on a gender studies professor has a college campus on edge.
The guy basically walked in and asked the teacher if he was a professor. He said, yeah, then he pulled out a knife. The guy attacked our professor with two very big knives from the very big backpack.
It happened Wednesday at the University of Waterloo in Canada. Police are investigating it as a hate crime related to gender expression and gender identity.
Oh, like I say, let me get my blood pressure down here. I get very upset about this, and I don't know if you're aware, but the United States Supreme Court just passed whatever it is they do about affirmative action, as well as it has to do with a woman who refused to do a graphic artist who refused to do a design for a gay couple for their wedding. And now they passed where you have the right to say no to any of these. And I can understand if you're extremely busy and you know, I can't get to it until March. Well, that's after the wedding. So, but it just upsets me the fact that the whole United States is going backwards, but that's a whole nother subject. But to limit something over the sexual orientation of people, I don't understand that, because as I see it, these people, I have met many people in my work over 30 years, and they're out there trying to make a living just like I am, trying to pay their bills just like I do, trying to keep their jobs just like I am. What's the problem?
Yeah. And it's so true, though. It's so true. I remember right when this happened, because this happened just over 10 years ago about the wedding cake incident.
Yes.
And it was a person, I think, from Tennessee or Texas, though, that was actually with this thing. It went to Supreme Court and everything else. I know she lost personally with what was going actually on because I was following at that time. But yeah, so there's so much hate going actually on in this world, and it's funny though. I'm sorry for bringing this up though. For those that know me, and also for our viewers and listeners that have been listening and everything else, they know I'm actually third generation Indigenous. It's funny though because if so many people say, "Hey, I'm American, I'm Canadian," no, you're not. If you originally look at your ancestors, even shaking the bottle, if you originally look at your ancestors, you're not originally to Turtle Island. And it's true though.
Okay, my blood pressure just went up again.
Yeah. And it's so true though, because the land has been stolen from us Indigenous. The government came in years ago, land was stolen, everything else. So you guys are not originally from this land. You guys might be born here, yeah. But the thing though is, if you look back at your ancestors, no. And then with the gender stuff, I've got friends that are trans. I support them 100%. I'm a two-spirit Indigenous person. That basically means I live actually within the spiritual world, actually as a man and also a female.
Well, I don't know if you remember the movie A Man Called Horse, I think it was. And there was a character, maybe it wasn't that one. I know it was a big movie, and the one Indian, I use that term and I apologize, Indigenous person. I'm never sure what to use. It changes from time to time. But he wanted to stay with the women and be a woman, and then everybody was kind of in the tribe was kind of like, so if that's what you want, do it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world would look at that as, oh my God, no, you're Native American, you're a man, you should be on a horse defending, all these other things going on. And it's like, that just stayed in my mind because it's like, maybe a lot of Indigenous tribes didn't look at it the way we do. And it's like, if you want to be a two-soul, is that right? Two-spirit? Fine. That's the way the Creator Spirit made you.
Yeah. And with what's going actually on right now with the drag queens, with the libraries, with people protesting and everything else. All right. I love what Bianca Del Rio had said. All right. And she said this quite well. Yeah, it's men dressed up as women, but heck, they look pretty darn good.
I remember going to a production of the ballet, the Royal Ballet the Trocaderas, who was a ballet group that did they were all transgender, not really transgendered, but LGBT, the whole thing.
LGBT.
And they did serious stuff, and they did comedy, and some of the comedy routines were hysterical. But I remember looking at this one gentleman who was playing a female role, and my God, he looked better than I did.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't.
Yeah. And if you look at that, drag queens go way back in time. All right. They go back even before the 1800s.
Oh, hell's bells. They go back to the Greeks.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
If you know your history, you know that there was a lot of that in the ancient world, more than what we want to realize. And there were even, they just came out with a new thing a new article, whatever you want to call it, where it showed that women hunted as well as the men did. They weren't just the little stay at home, take care of the kids, and hunters and the gatherers of the berries. They went out and hunted too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. So again, though, is with Waterloo. University of Waterloo is one of the top, actually, universities. They say college actually underneath the one report, but it's not a college. And it's a university. But with the stabbing, though, all right, the guy walked actually into class with a backpack, asked the professor what's going actually on. The professor explained calmly. The student put the backpack in right in front of the professor, took out a large knife, and started swarming and hitting people. Right, and it's pretty bad though, especially like that. Yeah, people think us Canadians and all that are really kind and everything else. But it looks like though that we're turning into the States. I'm sorry to say that, Eva, but that's what it looks like. Is still that Canada is starting to turn into States.
Yeah, well, hate knows no boundaries, as does love. Love knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
And you know, as let me get my pressure back down.
I'll sort of let people know. A friend of mine from Thunder Bay, before we did tonight's actually recording. Yeah, it is a recording. She called me up. She indicated though that she took part of an event. I think it was yesterday or today or something like that. Now, actually, as an Indigenous person though, men for the circle drum usually take part actually of the circle drum. She turned around and she said though that this special date up there in Thunder Bay, the women were allowed to do the drum, which was awesome. So that's a circle drum, which is really awesome to hear from her. Then she was telling me though that she since we're talking about this right now, she turned around, she saw somebody with a tattoo, love and hate, right on the knuckles.
Oh, I've seen that.
All right. She turned around, she said that she loves the love better. So yeah, she's a really awesome girl. Again though, from Thunder Bay, she's also Indigenous. Eva sort of knows her from Facebook.
You know, this whole thing upsets me because, think about this. I was just talking about this with a friend. If you read the Bible, Jesus never married, but he ran around with all these men. They camped together. They ate together. That's a little suspicious, don't you think?
Yep.
And if you read the writings of in the Gospels and stuff, women were just excluded from the whole thing. It was all male dominated. And it kind of irks me when I hear these Christians who claim to be very Christian spew this hate. If you're gay, you're bad. If you're a lesbian, you're bad. And any number of things. And if you don't follow their way of thinking, you've got the devil in you. And it just irritates the daylights out of me because it's now infecting it's infecting more and more people.
Yeah.
Hate.
Yeah, and you were saying sorry for interrupting, but you were saying about the book. The book terms that people have so messed up to do with the LGBT community. Back then, it totally meant something way different than what they're picking up nowadays. All right? Get your facts straight, people.
Yeah. There is just so much hatred out there. And it's not just the LGBT alphabet community. There's hatred towards Black. There's hatred towards Asians. The hatred towards Jews. If you're not white, not Christian, you don't count. Excuse me. That bothers me.
Yeah. And what they're doing right now, though, with the drag queens, actually within the States, about the big protests and everything else, I'm really looking at that with the African American community. Right when Rosa Parks was actually taking part, and she sat up front of the bus instead of going right to the back. They're doing the same thing, though, that they did to the African American community, now to the LGBT community. Right, that's affecting Canada also. Right, It's like, hello, wake up and smell the coffee. So again,
And by the way,
go ahead.
I was just thinking, and just think about this. Coffee is originally black, and you're drinking that?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's true. It's true. It's 100% true.
Oh,
It's
I
100% true. Yeah.
if I couldn't laugh, I'd go crazy.
Yeah.
I just, like I say, one of the things that truly, truly bother me are these people who stand there, and it's just not the evangelical type Christians, but overall, there are people who stand out there and say, those fags, they should be taken out and shot. It's like, excuse me. And my sister loves to use the expression, or use the debate question is, so because I think I think she says in the family there is at least one member who is LGBTQ.
LGBT.
Well, alphabet, etc., LGBT, etc.
Yes.
There's at least one member in your family someplace nearer to you than you realize. How do you handle that? And most people can't answer that.
Yeah.
Most people won't answer that.
But yeah, it's so much affecting this world.
And it's like I say, having all the in the past, in the 30 years that I was in the work field, I worked again with, because of the fact that I'm a graphic artist. So artists, right away, you're in the group. In fact, in the class that I took, the whatever you want to call it, because we were all in the same room, but we all took different classes. But anyway, in that gathering of the artists in that one room, of the 20 people that were there, I would say there were at least 5 people that I can think of that were gay. And it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
They're trying to get a grade just like the rest of us. And they all went out and got good jobs. Isn't that what counts?
Yeah. Right. So what we're going to do, though, is before we explode anymore, we're going to play this little clip, actually, of what took place so that we guys can listen to it. And then we're going to go for a commercial break right after this. So, yeah, we'll be right back. And we're going to talk about positive ways exactly of how you can actually change around and move forward. So, all right, so we'll be right back.
A targeted attack on a gender studies professor has a campus on edge.
The guy basically walked in and asked the teacher if he was a professor. He said yeah, then he pulled out a knife.
Police are investigating it as a hate crime related to gender expression and gender identity.
The paranormal can happen at any time, so that's why our Etsy store is always open. Get your paranormal items from cleansing to protection to attraction, all available now on our Etsy store. Search HauntingLIVE.
Explore the Stratford Perth Museum with Trevor Bishop and Chris the Rock, both from HauntingLIVE podcast and Divine Oracle readings. They have been seen on national television shows and heard on radio stations throughout North America. This is your chance to explore this wonderful house and the haunting history that's within the building. September 10th, why not come out to the Stratford Perth Museum for the Indigenous Arts and Craft Market for celebration with the Cedar Hill Drumming Corps and Dancers. This is absolutely free on September 10th from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Another great podcast to listen to is Haunting Live Podcast with your host Trevor, interviewing tons of people throughout the world. Listen on any of your podcast providers.
Be sure to check out our new website at HauntingLivePodcast.com. That's again those. Check out HauntingLivePodcast.com. Alrighty, well, welcome back, everybody. And Eva, have you had enough medication?
I think so.
Alrighty, all right. Well, during commercial break, I saw those pills going in, the blood pressure. I saw all that. So, yeah,
You can see the little scale going down.
Yeah.
It is something that means a lot to me, and I was brought up that you look at the person, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't judge them, because who are you to judge? You are not God.
Yeah.
You're not even an angel. You're not anything other than someone like them.
Yeah.
It's on this, I mean, not someone like them, but someone on the same playing field as you are. And you take that person for who they are. I have met straight people who are very mean, vicious, and conniving. I have met gay people who are mean, vicious, and conniving.
Who told you about me?
Put the cross up. I have met people gay people who are very loving, kind, just a very giving individuals. And I've met straight people the same way.
Yeah.
I've met Black people, Jewish people, even Muslims. They're just, like I say, they're all out there trying to make a living like I am. They're all out there trying to get their bills paid. What makes them different? And if that's counting in the bedroom, if you want to walk in their bedroom, that's getting a little dicey.
It is. It's like so I have I got a little thing here to read. Right, I just opened up a book, and it's from Carl Gray, and it's about angel numbers. And this one here, I just opened up the book, and so for those that actually have the angel number book from Carl Gray, I'm looking at page 248. I'm looking actually at the number 816. So this one here reads, "You are encouraged to take peaceful actions at this time. See the correct situation of the other person. It's point. So basically, look at the other person's point of view before moving forward. There's a lesson there." And it's so true. There is a lesson actually for learning about other people's, right? Don't be judging. And that there sort of reminds me of the thing. Don't read a book by its cover. So, or probably Eva understands what I'm trying to say.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. So again, though, since there's so much hate, we're gonna look actually at how we can turn it more positive, right? And that's a good example there. For the past couple of weeks, we've actually been dealing with raise your vibration. That's one though that we've actually talked about, right? So if you go back to some of our past podcasts that we've done, there's great stuff there. Another one though is basically walking away. Knowing the unknown basically is another one. So yeah. So what kind of actions would you say is best off for people besides what we've done in the past for podcasts?
Well, I think what we've done in the past, it gives a lot of good information. The people who are filled with so much hate, I don't think you're going to be able to change their mind at all. All you can do is just look at them, say, "I love you," and walk away, or, something along that lines, or extending love vibrations, if you want to put it that way. In my own experience, these people are not going to change. They're going to continue to believe what they want to believe, or what they have been believing. And the only thing you can do is just say, "I understand," and go from there.
Yeah. So earlier I was saying about Bianca Del Rio. Now, she is a well-known drag queen within the world. She's going to be doing, actually, I think it's China or Philippines, something like that, for the drag race, for the top judge. But anyway, so she's turned around and said, "Hey, yeah, they're dressed up as men, women. And the best thing to do though is, if you don't like it, turn around, walk away, keep your mouth shut." She's a straightforward, blunt drag queen, and she speaks a lot of truth. So, Again, though, is if you don't like something, walk away. Keep your mouth shut and walk away. So
Good one. Good one.
like,
That's a good one.
Yeah. The other thing, though, write down your emotions. Another great thing, though, is write down your emotions. If you're going to go through turmoil, instead of taking a knife to 3 people, instead of stabbing them, write down your emotions, lock it away, whatever's in the paper, and just relax, breathe. Pick up the letter a couple days later, look what you wrote down. Or else another great way, instead of picking up the paper, take a match to it. Burn the paper. That way you're releasing actually all that anger away, because you're writing actually all that anger down onto the paper. But once you put that match to the paper, you're burning actually all that negativity away. So even we go ahead.
Good suggestions. Good suggestions.
So,
and my father always said, you respect the individual. So I think I came through life pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the philosophy, though, is, and I love this, though, love all, accept all.
Yes.
All right. It doesn't matter if they're gay, if they're trans, if they're Philippines, or Asian, or Iran, or whatever. Still, accept them all and love them all. Yeah. We do say thanks a lot. Show your support. Show your likes. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. But you listened to
Divine Oracle readings on unique Spotify. Another great podcast to listen to is Haunting Live Podcast with your host Trevor, interviewing tons of people throughout the world. Listen on any of your podcast providers.